Welcome to AI TV News. Tonight we're breaking down a developing story with potentially huge consequences for every American with a Social Security number. The personal information of over 300 million people may be at risk, according to a new whistleblower complaint from a top official at the Social Security Administration. This official is raising the alarm about a new government group, accusing them of making a copy of the entire Social Security database and moving it to a less secure location. Let's start with the key players. The whistleblower is Charles Borges, the Chief Data Officer at the Social Security Administration. He is essentially the person in charge of keeping the public's data safe. On the other side is a group called the Department of Government Efficiency, also known as DOGE. This department was created by Elon Musk in January 2025 to help the Trump administration cut government spending and improve efficiency. The core of this story is a very serious allegation. Mr. Borges claims that officials from the Department of Government Efficiency, who were also employed by the Social Security Administration, created a live copy of a database called the Numident file. This isn't just any government file. It contains the sensitive personal information of every single person ever issued a Social Security number. We're talking about names, dates and places of birth, addresses, and even family members' names. The complaint alleges this massive database was moved to a cloud computing environment that lacks the usual security and oversight, creating what the complaint calls enormous vulnerabilities. To put this in simple terms, imagine the Social Security database is like all the money and valuables stored inside a secure bank vault. The whistleblower alleges that the Department of Government Efficiency has essentially taken everything out of that vault and moved it to a storage unit with a less reliable lock, all without telling the bank's head of security. So what are the potential consequences if this data were to be compromised? According to the complaint, the risks are immense. It could lead to widespread identity theft on a scale never seen before. Americans could lose access to essential benefits like health care and food assistance. In a worst-case scenario, the government might even be forced to reissue new Social Security numbers for every American, a massive and incredibly costly undertaking. The complaint filed on behalf of Borges states these actions amount to gross mismanagement and abuse of authority and a substantial and specific threat to public health and safety. This situation didn't happen overnight. According to the whistleblower disclosure, the Department of Government Efficiency began seeking access to Social Security data shortly after its creation in January 2025, stating they needed it to combat fraud. This led to a legal battle. In March, a court issued a temporary restraining order to block the Department of Government Efficiency's access to the data. However, that order expired, and in June, the Supreme Court overturned a lower court's ruling granting the Department of Government Efficiency access to the data. It was after this Supreme Court decision in June 2025 that Department of Government Efficiency officials allegedly uploaded the copy of the database to the high-risk cloud server. The complaint points to an internal memo from July, in which a former Musk executive now at the Social Security Administration, Aram Mogdanassi, allegedly accepted the security risks, writing, "I have determined the business need is higher than the security risk associated with this implementation, and I accept all risks." After discovering this, Mr. Borges raised his concerns internally in August, and when he felt nothing was done, he came forward as a whistleblower. His complaint was filed by the Government Accountability Project, a nonprofit organization that protects whistleblowers. Now let's look at the different perspectives. The whistleblower, Charles Borges, and his legal team say he came forward out of a sense of urgency to protect the American public's most sensitive data. DOGE and the Trump administration have consistently argued that they need this data to root out fraud and waste in government programs. They have pointed to this as a core part of their mission to make government more efficient. The Social Security Administration has responded, stating it is not aware of any compromise to this environment. They maintain that the data is stored in a secure system that is walled off from the internet and that they take all whistleblower complaints seriously. The White House has so far declined to comment on the matter. This is a serious and complex situation. A government watchdog is sounding a critical alarm about the potential exposure of nearly every American's personal data. On the other hand, a government efficiency group insists its actions are necessary to combat fraud. Now the Office of Special Counsel and congressional committees are tasked with investigating these grave allegations to determine the facts and ensure the security of our most sensitive information.